Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX, and I'm joined by my vice mayor, my co-host, my friend, and most importantly, the person who isn't going to be here this week for opening week with me. It's my friend, the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman. I just miss you already. I can't believe circumstances are keeping us away from each other on opening
well,
week.
You say that like I was in town last week or something,
Mm-hmm.
and you've just been missing me.
This is different. You know that.
Yeah.
Not to mention you missed out on the food today, and we're going to talk about that.
I did,
Jesse. But
I am more sad. I am more sad about missing out on the food than I am about missing out on opening day.
Big facts. He texted me that. But before we get on to the show, of course, we got to let you know that this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use our code of PHNX, and I think for one more day, for right now, if the game hasn't started, you can get down on college hoops and bet on your winner for the NCAA tournament, whether it's North Carolina or Kansas, your choice. But anyway, you guys get down on hoops with our code of PHNX. You'll get $200 in free bets instantly should your team win, whichever team you choose over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Jesse, we are already starting to go down a path for the Arizona Diamondbacks that I was not ready to go down again this season. A lot of injuries.
Yeah.
And I'm sad. Already what we're finding out is it looks like Nick Ahmed, Jordan Luplow, and now Josh Rojas will not be ready for opening day. They will all be on the injured list. What are your thoughts on these sudden injuries and now I guess, once again, the lack of depth for this team?
And so it begins, right? Here we go. Hopefully, things haven't gotten out of hand to the point that they did last year. Fingers crossed it stays that way. But yeah, I mean, this is tough for the Diamondbacks. Nick Ahmed, obviously a important staple for them at shortstop. Jordan Luplow, we've talked about his importance to being able to hit left-handed pitching. Diamondbacks are very left-handed heavy offensively. And then the biggest one is probably the most recent name you mentioned, Josh Rojas, with an oblique strain, a grade 2 oblique strain that it sounds like he's potentially been feeling for a while, something that has been bothering him for a decent while during this spring. And, being the competitor that Josh Rojas is, it sounds like he didn't really want to bring it up. He was trying to play through it, which of course is noble in some senses, but here, might have cost his team a little bit in that he might not be ready quite as soon as maybe he would have if he'd spoken up about that a couple weeks ago. But certainly, I can't even really imagine what it's like being a player and trying to figure out, you feel pain all the time, right? So how do you figure out when is it something that is, actually serious enough that I shouldn't be playing, and when is it just your daily bumps and bruises? Correct. So certainly can't be too mad at that.
I've had a sprained ankle for 27 years, Jesse. That's just the way it goes sometimes, especially when you're not an athlete. What, I'm supposed to address it? I'm supposed to what? Get on crutches? No, I'll just live with the pain. I will say this, though. I think Torey Lovullo brought it up during, I think, when J.B. Bukauskas went on the injured list, as far as, sometimes it takes more strength, more energy, or just whatever you want to call it. It takes more I guess swallowing your pride a bit to have something not feel right and immediately go to the trainer, right? Because again, these guys, they play a sport, they play hurt, they play injured all the time. It's just it's part of it. It's just a matter of how bad is the discomfort. It's kind of like Zach Gallen's injury. That's even what his medical team told him is how bad is the discomfort. And if you can basically, if you're okay with that discomfort, then you can play on, right? So some guys tend to do that, and that's what we get out of players, even at a high level. Down that might help the Diamondbacks now in the predicament that they're in. Matt Davidson being one of them that was set down to minor league camp, along with Dan Straley, who was part of the starting pitching rotation battle, or in camp, you could say. Tyler Gilbert Tyler Gilbert, Matt Peacock, and Taylor Widener all sent down to AAA Reno as well, among others. So those are just kind of some of the names that stood out. A little bit surprising. I know people are going to be surprised about Tyler Gilbert. You throw a no-hitter in Major League Baseball, and people are going to question him being sent down, in any way, shape, or form. But I know that the Diamondbacks are being very careful with his development and everything that, they're doing with him. Same thing with a couple of the other guys, but these injuries are now starting to come up. And we have news today that Luke Weaver will not be in the starting rotation come opening day. And I think Jesse's just absolutely frozen. His face hasn't moved. But yeah, Luke Weaver will not be part of the Diamondbacks. Per Steve Gilbert, Luke Weaver will not be on the Diamondbacks starting rotation. We don't have any information right now as in regards to who is going to be part of the starting rotation. But we know that we definitely are going to see Luke Weaver start the season there. He is going to start the season in the bullpen. Jesse was very big, even though he's gone and abandoned me. He's very big on Luke Weaver coming out of the bullpen, but we both kind of question now who is left as far as Arizona Diamondbacks starting pitcher options, right? So we have Luke Weaver gone. Caleb Smith is now still in the rotation. He's been having an incredible spring. So him still being around, still not being named as a reliever, but named still potentially as a starting rotation is interesting, as well as Corbin Martin, which is very interesting as well, because it's an Arizona Diamondbacks top prospect, somebody who we've been excited to see. And honestly, somebody who his development has come along. He was hampered by the injury, but now we're in a position where we are finally getting to see him at a big league level, and he's been doing pretty well this spring. But of all those guys right now, Caleb Smith seems to be running away with things based on his performance. His ERA still isn't great this spring. Jesse lost power at his house, by the way, so that's him informing me of that. Hopefully he'll be back very soon. But we do have a lot of things going on as far as this team. Merill Kelley signed a new 2-year extension with the D-backs that with a club option for 2025. That's not something I think either of us expected or saw coming as far as Merill Kelley even returning to this team, but it's a very good sign. Ketel Marte and Kelley have been two of the best players on the team, arguably Marte being the best position player and Merill Kelley being the best, consistent starting rotation pitcher. Last season was abysmal, so it's hard to qualify anybody as being very good. Merill Kelley was what the Diamondbacks needed, though. Merill Kelley stopped some of their dubious losing streaks and such. Again, he is a product of the Valley. It's exciting to see somebody like Merill Kelley get the opportunity to stay here and play baseball, in the Valley, continue to play baseball outside of the 4 years that he was in Korea and the time he spent with Tampa Bay Rays. His entire baseball career has been here. So we definitely love to see Merill Kelley stay in the Valley. He's a brand new dad, by the way, so that's very exciting. Merill Kelley has I think 7-week-old daughter, 8-week-old daughter now at this point. That obviously is a big thing for them because as a family, there's a lot. If you have kids, you know how difficult that period of time is, right? Having this new little tiny human being in your life. So I think that there's just a wonderful peace of mind that not only went for Kelley, but for his whole family to stay here. He was very big in the press conference on his parents being able to drive down to the ballpark and see him play and not have to fly across the country. So these are just things that, again, it's a wonderful story for him and his family. It's wonderful that he gets to stay here with the Diamondbacks. Most importantly, I think it's wonderful that the Diamondbacks are rewarding players that have played well for this team that deserve to stick around and be a part of this core. And Josh Hunt said Jesse wasn't frozen. He was just staring at all the new ballpark food. And oh my God, we're going to get to that soon. Brandon Buckingham asks, over under 70 wins this season. And that's a good question. For me, without Jesse here to rein me in, I'm going to say over. I feel like over is a pretty safe bet on 70 wins. It's a substantial increase from last season, but I do think that it's one of those attainable goals. I really don't think this team was as bad as they were last year. And somebody who will back me up on that is Jesse. Jesse's back. We're talking about over-under on season wins, Jesse. How's your power? Is everything back now?
I think we're okay. Yeah, this was pretty crazy. It's storming pretty intensely here in the Pacific Northwest, and my power flashed off and then it turned on instantly. But the Wi-Fi did not turn on instantly. So we're rolling with the hotspot right now, and hopefully that works out.
That's all right. We were just talking about Merill Kelley. We were talking about the 70 win over under mark, but just for you, did you expect Merill Kelley to stay in Arizona and sign an extension like this? Or did you kind of foresee him leaving based on how good he was for this team and, the ability for other teams to throw more money at him?
I was pretty surprised. I think the thing that Meryl had, or I guess that the Diamondbacks had in their favor, was that Merill Kelley is a local guy.
Right.
He went to ASU, and you kind of got the sense that he enjoyed being here. And when he was discussing the extension in an interview, that was one of the main things that he talked about, was that he doesn't have to uproot his family. He doesn't have to pick up and move. And that's big. I think we forget about that. Like, players care about how much money they make, but they also care about like the lifestyle that their families have. Right.
Yeah.
And if you're moving, every single year, that's a pretty unfortunate spot for your family to be in. So obviously that was something that he valued.
All right. So when you left off, we were talking about Matt Davidson, Dan Straley being sent down to minor league camp, Tyler Gilbert, Matt Peacock, and Taylor Widener, among others, being reassigned to AAA Reno. Any surprises in the moves? Arizona now has 34 players left in camp.
I was surprised by Taylor Widener and Tyler Gilbert. I expected both of those guys. They were both, I shared my predicted opening day roster just a few days ago. And much like many people with their March Madness brackets, I had to like throw it out the window after like 6 hours because the Diamondbacks immediately started doing all these things that I didn't expect and that a lot of people didn't expect. If you look at, there are a few D-backs writers who put out projections for what the opening day roster would look like. And I don't think any of us are getting it right. This team is making a few decisions that were not anticipated. I think a lot of people expected Tyler Gilbert to be in there. Taylor Widener was, a fairly steady presence in the bullpen last year. Certainly seemed to be worthy of a shot coming into this season. But they decided to go a different direction on that front too. So we'll see.
I think I know why. Here's my theory. My theory is you have 3 new coaches coming in and looking at this team with fresh eyes. You have influential coaches, right? And Joe Mather, you have Jeff Bannister, and most importantly, Brent Strom when it comes to these pitchers that we're talking about. I think there's a difference there because, again, Mike Hazen has even admitted in the past that he can't assess his own players sometimes because he's already assessed them and he acquired them and he feels like it was a good move. He feels like they have potential or else he wouldn't have invested time and money into them. And it's hard for him to look at some players objectively a few years maybe after he's made those kind of moves, right? Brent Strom is the kind of coach that's going to come in here and look at things completely objectively now. He has no attachment to any of these guys. He knows stuff about these guys as players, but he hasn't coached most of them. So he comes into this situation just with that fresh mentality. And I think that's why we could see things more based on current performance. Like everything you've done in the past kind of goes out the window at this point because they are comparing you to other guys that could take your position that are doing better, outperforming you in something like spring training or camp or whatever. We talked about, while you disappeared a little bit, I talked about Caleb Smith and his surprising performances lately as we get closer and closer to the season, as he gets more and more stretched out, right? We have Corbin Martin now, who has really shown some really consistency, moments of brilliance as a pitcher. He was a guy, honestly, I'm no scout, but I was like, he feels close, right?
Yeah.
Almost kind of like Alec Thomas. But it was surprising to me that they went with him, and I think that they must really see something in him because at this point, it looks very much so like he could be one of the pitchers in the starting rotation come opening day.
It's not impossible. It's really not. I think, from what we've heard, the team hasn't decided on a fifth starter. I assume, did you guys talk about Luke Weaver while I was away?
Do you guys, me by myself? Yes, I did talk about it a little bit, but yes, no, I mean, obviously, Luke Weaver being moved to the bullpen was part of this rotation discussion. And, it's surprising. I did credit you as saying that you like the idea of him coming out of the bullpen, but you're still a bit surprised. You think his stuff will play well, but it's still Luke Weaver, somebody who we kind of thought, I think we kind of felt like he was right up there with Kelley and Gallen and Mad Bum as far as just kind of having a concrete position in the rotation. It doesn't seem to be the case.
I think with Luke, we've just felt that there's more in the tank, that he just has potential to be more than he has been. But what surprises me about this is that what he has been is still pretty decent, right? Like, he hasn't been a top of the rotation starter or anything like that. But last year he had like a low mid 4 ERA, which, I mean, let's face it, the Diamondbacks won 52 games. That was the least of their problems last year. Luke Weaver wasn't, the reason that they had the season that they did. Obviously,
Sure.
there's some health issues there that hopefully resolve this season. But in terms of his performance, he really wasn't. He really was pretty solid for the Diamondbacks overall. So I was surprised. I'm just not sure where they think they're going to get that kind of performance from. The Diamondbacks obviously do not have a ton of starting rotation depth as it is. And so, I like what I've seen from Corbin Martin this spring, just like you mentioned. But he wasn't great in his last outing the other day. I guess presumably his last outing. Maybe we see him here in the next couple days. But yeah, I don't know if he quite did enough this spring in order to earn that shot in the opening day rotation. And Caleb Smith, after what he did today, here as we record on Monday, he was very good against the Mariners, and he's pitched 11 innings now without giving up a run. So I don't know if that puts him in the front running for that role, but we'll have to see. The Diamondbacks are making a lot of choices that at least I personally didn't expect to see.
You said that as if we're not live right now with people watching us, but yeah, I get it. You're doing it for the listeners.
That's fair. I'm doing it. I'm thinking of the audio.
What are we doing here on a Monday, Jesse, doing a live show? Well, I want to address that. We're going to talk about it a little bit later, but obviously this is opening week, baby. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about, and this show format is going to change a bit. I know we've kind of gotten used to our getting together on our Mondays and doing the mailbag thing, and we're still going to do that, but things are going to change a bit around here because we have actual baseball to watch, talk about, cover. You guys are going to be getting a post-game show from us on Sundays, where we're also going to cover the next upcoming preview, upcoming series. You're going to have that a few times a week, as well as additional live shows. So you're going to get 3 to 4 live shows a week. We're still going to be podcasting, as well as just being here with you to chat. So we hope you guys join us as much as you can, and we'll just be here talking about baseball. We're going to cover some of the changes a little bit later. I'm excited, but before we do that, I did want to let you know you can get a little bit more information about that Merill Kelley 2-year extension over at gophnx.com from yours truly, as well as a piece on Zach Davies from Jesse that really breaks down his performance over the last few years, including what may or may not have gone wrong last season. So check that out over at gophnx.com. If you're not already a member, sign up to become a member. You can get an annual membership, which will get you a free t-shirt over at the phnxlocker.com. And of course, you guys, this Thursday on opening day, we are going to be dropping a brand new t-shirt live in person at the Ainsworth. So if you guys can come down and join us, of course, we would love to see you guys in person at the Ainsworth. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. The party starts at 3 p.m. and it's going to include the new exclusive shirt drop that you can actually purchase that day live in person at the Ainsworth for our opening day live party. Guys, I'm so excited. I never thought this day was going to come. I don't even know what to do with myself. So that's what's going on. But of course, you should sign up to become a member. That way you can get a free t-shirt, maybe order the t-shirt, maybe buy this t-shirt and get yourself another one, whatever you want to do. If you're not interested in the free t-shirt and the annual membership, sign up to become a month-to-month member and you will get your first month for just 50 cents. So we thank you, obviously, for being here with us, joining us. And if you already are a member, we thank you for doing that. If you want to know why to become a member, exclusive discounts, exclusive content, and of course, members only Discord, where we chat about all things Marvel and Disney over at Disney Plus. That's really what it's for. But anyway, we thank you guys again so much for tuning in and being here with us. And of course, we said we're not. Oh, Jesse's losing power again. Jesse,
yep, I
going
just
out.
lost power again, but my computer has battery and I am on a hotspot, so we are here.
We figured it out. Yeah, you can't. You northwestern storms can't stop us because today is Monday. Oh no, he's freezing up. It's like they're trying to stop us. You guys know what we do here every week here on the D-backs PHNX D-backs podcast is Shark Week. Every day is Earth Day, and every Monday we go to the mailbag.
Mailbox. Always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox.
That's right. We're not abandoning Mailbag Monday. We're not too big for Mailbag Monday, nor will we ever be too big for Mailbag Monday. So of course we have our first question here coming from Twitter. It comes from our friend Spencer O'Gara, and Spencer asks, who gets the most reps at third base this year? Rojas, Still, Ellis, or someone not currently on the roster? And I think this is a great question for what we're currently going through with Rojas now on the injured list. Jesse, your thoughts?
It's a tough one. I think Sergio Alcantara, he did play third base last year a little bit with the Cubs. It's not his primary position, but he's a really good shortstop. And so I think that's a pretty natural fit there. The Diamondbacks, I know a lot of people have been asking, is there a Mark Reynolds or is there someone that they can call up, from the minor leagues who can give them some depth at that position? They're a little bit thin, to be frank. AJ Vukovich is the team's best third base prospect. He's still a few years away. Speaking of, Brett Johnson says, is AJ Vukovich a possibility or is he still about a year or two away? So there you go. Yeah. I do think that Vukovich,
big guy, by the way.
He's a big guy.
Never seen him in real life until this past minor league minicamp. He's a big dude.
He's like 6'6", with shoes on. So yeah, he is. I think he played basketball. He was like a high school basketball star, if I'm not mistaken. But
that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, so he's still a few years away. Buddy Kennedy is a guy in the minor league system who we've talked about recently. He's definitely someone. Yeah, great guy. Obviously the Mike Trout connection is well documented. So I think there's a decent chance we see him in the majors at some point this year. But I don't think the team views him as being ready for an everyday role just yet. And they're certainly not trying to rush his progression just because of the necessity that they have right now. So let's face it, the Diamondbacks don't have much depth at third base, and they were kind of taking a risk by not going out and trying to get some outside help. And unfortunately, this is
worst case scenario.
What can happen. Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, I mean, because they DFA Van Meter, right? And I mean, again, it's like they sent Davidson down. It's not like they can't call him back up, but it's not great. It's not great. And these things have happened now in a way where they already had a lot of uncertainty there. For me, unfortunately, this brings back nightmares of center field last year when they were just like, yeah, Ketel's going to play there. Okay, well, who's backing him up?
Right. You might want someone else who can play center field on the roster.
I mean, it was just kind of crazy the way that they just had no idea, or I guess the thought process there is like, there's a lot of things we do, right? I mean, especially as I've gotten older and more mature, there's things I do that I would have never done when I was younger because I've learned my lesson, right?
Did you just say, wait, hold up. Did you just say more mature? Is there a less mature version of Derek that existed?
Oh God, Jesse, this is a refined product. Okay, this is not something. This is something that actually has a bit of class to it. But no, at one point I was an absolute dolt. But I will say this: no, when I go places, I take a jacket with me. Right? I live in Arizona. That's not something I've ever really had to do my entire life, but I've learned from my lesson. How hard is it if you're driving somewhere to take a jacket with you and leave it in the car? Sure, you might not use it, but if you do, then you feel like a genius later, right? So these are things like I would think the Diamondbacks have learned from their mistakes in the past, as far as depth, as far as going out and getting players to actually play the position. I feel like they've been a little free and loose with third base now for entirely too long. Ever since we lost Eduardo Escobar, they haven't seen any kind of sense of urgency to try to address that position and fill have someone fill that position that actually plays it well at a major league level, right?
Yeah.
They're tremendously under budget still as far as what they said they were going to spend this year. So I don't see a reason why they can't go out. It makes me wonder if Sergio was kind of that safe gap.
I think he was the safety net for Nick Ahmed, right?
Sure,
because that's really his natural position, and they were
and
willing to go out and
Perdomo that hasn't really proved himself yet. So, you absolutely need to kind of consider that. But at least with Perdomo, you have somebody that can play shortstop. He might have his faults. He might, learn on the fly. It might be one of those terrible situations where because Nick Ahmed's injured, he just has to play a lot. And good, bad, there's no other option besides him. But he's still a shortstop. I don't feel like we can put all of those eggs in the Drew Ellis basket. I just don't. I feel like that's what we're going to be forced to do at this point for the foreseeable future, though.
I think what the Diamondbacks really want to avoid this season, and this is something that Mike Hazen has emphasized repeatedly, is he wants young players to have opportunity, but he doesn't want them to have opportunity just for the sake of having opportunity. Right. He wants them to have opportunity because they showed something and they earned that chance, right? And unfortunately, Drew Ellis certainly has promise and seems like a great guy and certainly hope the best for him moving forward. But I don't think he's shown the Diamondbacks that he's deserving of that opportunity. He hasn't really hit much this Cactus League, and he certainly wasn't great offensively last year. They like the defense, and I think that's going to be that's ultimately the reason that he's going to get playing time. Is that I think that's priority number one. Just give them a third baseman who can field the ball and who's not going to cost you too much defensively. And, if they don't get too much offense from that position early on, maybe that's something that the team can deal with a little bit more easily.
Next question comes from @DonsBread, emoji of bread. How are you guys? Have you guys drank enough water recently? This is the most considerate question we've ever been asked on Mailbag Monday, and I can't tell you how much I've appreciated. Yes, DonsBread, I have drank, I don't think enough water. I don't think I ever drank enough water, especially with how busy I've been lately. Tonight, Jesse, I'm taking my daughter to her first rock concert that doesn't involve the Octonauts or Disney on Ice.
Wow.
Billie Eilish. And
there you go.
We both enjoy the song stylings of Billie Eilish very much. So I'm very excited about this. But to Don's point, I am concerned that I'm not properly hydrated to have eaten as much salty food that I ate today at the D-backs food and beverage preview, and now to go to a rock show at 7:30 on a Monday.
Concerts are I feel they're a very sweaty place. Everyone's always sweating at a rock concert. So be careful. Be careful, Derek. Drink your water.
And I'm going to take Don's advice and I'm going to drink some water and I won't eat any bread. I promise. Next question comes from Gabriel. And at bold as bronze on Twitter. And he asks, in December, I called this D-backs team the 2020 Suns bubble team of baseball. You guys agreed I was crazy for that then. Has your mind changed since then, or do you still think this is a low 70 win team? That's well put. Okay. I think the idea there, though, of it being the Suns bubble team is a bit much, considering the kind of short-term but impactful success that team had in the bubble that kind of just was amplified the next season once some more money was put behind it and they added the right free agency parts. The difference there is that the Suns at the bubble point were at a different phase that I still think the Diamondbacks aren't at, but I feel like they're close to moving that phase. The first phase is identifying your core, and the D-backs are starting to do that with these contract extensions and honoring these deals to bring guys back that, for long term, that have performed well for this team. Identifying that core and making sure that the timeline for that core fits each other, right? Like Mad Bum, his age, his contract, nothing of Mad Bum's really fits the core, but the other guys, the young guys that we're concerned about that we do consider the core, does fit that, right? So there's a lot of good things going on right now with the Diamondbacks moving in the right direction. However, with that being said, they're still not there yet. But to the other part of his question, I do think that it's a low 70s wins team. I don't think a low 70 to 75 wins is even crazy for this team. I don't. I will say that we're going to be playing a much better Padres team, probably a much better Rockies team. It's going to be a tough division.
I'm skeptical of the Rockies, and I don't think the Giants are going to win 107 games either.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, that's a great point, right?
The Padres are good, though. You're very right. The Padres are great.
A lot of those wins were against a Diamondbacks team that was pretty dismantled, right? So those teams padded their wins with some, series against the Diamondbacks. Let's be honest. I will say, though, that, I nothing would shock me until we start talking about above 500. Above 500, if people are saying that, I think it's crazy. And if it happens, it would be crazy. It would blow my mind, right?
Yeah.
When you look at projections for this team for 2020, it was a 500 team, right? So no matter how bad the end record ended up being, let's give a little bit of credit where credit's due that this team, I think anybody that watched them can agree that this team wasn't as bad as they were last season. So I don't think 70 to 75 is out of the question at all.
75 is my number. That's what I'm going with. And I do think that's a little bit bold. I mean, that's a 23 win improvement, which is obviously significant for one season. But
sure.
Yeah, I think even if that errs on the optimistic side of things, I do think that's totally within their reach. But yeah, to the original question from Gabriel, I wouldn't necessarily equate this team with the bubble Suns just yet. For the reasons that you mentioned, the core is not really there. There is no, I guess Ketel Marte is maybe your Devin Booker of sorts, but I don't think you have the role players around him. And I mean, in baseball is obviously different. You need more than just, a star or two and some role players. It's a bigger roster, and teams certainly need more than that in order to be successful. But there's definitely some pieces to build around, and there's reasons to be excited because we're going to see some Alek Thomas, hopefully, and we're going to see Seth Beer, hopefully, every day. And we're going to see, hopefully Josh Rojas get healthy after a month or so and show us what he can do over another full season. So there's still some stuff to look forward to. And, maybe this winds up being a season where the Diamondbacks do transition into having that core and knowing at least a little bit more about who's going to be on the next great Diamondbacks team.
I would have Seth Beer working at third base every single day, just with fingers crossed, hoping all the time that he could somehow magically be the answer. Because could you imagine if that guy could find a position on the field that he could also play? Like,
sure. Why don't we just have? Can't Dalton Varsho play third base? he's already catching.
Can play everything, Jesse. You know that. Why are you asking me that? Dalton Varsho's in the rotation discussion for the fifth rotation spot. You know that. All right, last question comes from Greg Littleton. And speaking of the rotation, he asks, "What are your realistic expectations for Mad Bum this year? After 2 seasons with an ERA above 4, do you think he can return to his sub-4 ERA form? In other words, should I drop him from my fantasy team?" And Greg, you and I both know, by the way, Greg at Greg 7795, we both know that if you drop him from your fantasy team, he's going to do awesome. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe you should drop him from your fantasy team. I don't know, Jesse. I think, again, it's the Joe Mather effect, and it's the Brent Strom effect. I can't stop until I see like a sample size, until I see a month of them pitching real regular season games. Then I don't know what to say. Mad Bum's shrouded in secrecy about how he's been working out, what he's done to increase his velocity. He doesn't want to tell us anything. So I have no idea. I have no way to gauge the man.
That's not really different. That's
an enigma
kind of
wrapped
always
inside
is.
A conundrum hidden inside a mystery is what he is. And the thing about Mad Bum is, I still very much believe in him. I think he's a smart guy. Like, obviously, just smarter than baseball in general. But like, I feel like he's smart enough to be a Zach Greinke, where he's going to find ways to adapt and still find success, no matter if he's lost his velocity, no matter if he's not the same Mad Bum he used to be. I don't know if we're going to get a sub-4 ERA, but I will say that for right now, I would wait and see. You have at least, if you're worrying about dropping him from your fantasy team, give him 2 starts before you make that decision. I really think he's improved. He is over the moon about the idea of working with Brent Strom. And he really, I don't know, he's weird this year, Jesse. He's in a really good mood. He's really happy. And
And he's like not shaving either, right?
I don't know if
his beard is like
maybe that's why he's
massive.
so happy. Shaving sucks. We know
Yeah.
that. But I will say that I don't know. There's a peace. There's like an inner peace Mad Bum has. And
Yeah.
I think that, he's talked about this. This is the first normal season he's had since he's been an Arizona Diamondback, pretty much. Everything else has been kind of weird and chaotic. And I mean, he was here in 2019, right? So that was
he was signed in the off season. So first year was 2020, the pandemic year.
Right. Yeah. So 2020 and 2021 were his 2 seasons with this team. Like, talk about a nightmare of a couple of years, right? So
yeah,
I think there is something about going through the normal process of spring training, even if it was messed up by the lockout and kind of weird. He's still going to do what he was going to do, and that was going to work out with his staff and do his thing like he normally does. And I don't think that too many guys weren't in some sort of workout program during this lockout. So I think that everybody's kind of keyed in, and I think Mad Bum, honestly, I think that this is how we get like Mad Bum the supervillain. That's really what I think he's got, because he's not telling us, Jesse. And this is like how that starts, right? The first thing starts with, I need to maintain my power or my youth, right? And then next thing you know, you're doing secret formulas with scientists, and then the Avengers have to come save us from Mad Bum because he's some sort of speedball supervillain or something, right? So I feel that's the path that we're on right now. But it is what it is as far as Mad Bum and his performance. I mean, I think we really have to kind of pause and wait and see what we get out of him.
I also think that Mad Bum has a really good chance to be better this year. You mentioned the velocity. He's throwing pretty much as hard now as he's really ever thrown, at least dating back to his first couple years in the league. There was a time when Mad Bum was a little bit more of a flamethrower when he first entered the league, but it's been a long time. Even some of his best years with the Giants, he was still like a 91, 92, maybe 93 type of a guy. He has a deceptive delivery. He has ways of getting outs other than throwing high fastballs. So I am optimistic about Mad Bum. I think that a sub-4 ERA, if that's the threshold that we're looking at, I'm not so sure. I feel great about him getting under that. Like you said, the issue with Bumgarner, Derek, is fundamentally that he gives up a lot of home runs. The last few years, he has given up a lot of home runs. And so, you look at some of his peripherals from last year, he doesn't walk many guys. His strikeout numbers are pretty decent. His whip last year was under 1.2, which is really pretty good. He didn't allow that many base runners, but he still wound up with an ERA, something around 4.5, just because he gives up a lot of home runs. And I'm not sure, how he can really improve outside of limiting home runs. And at this point in his career, there are adjustments that he can make in order to do that, but it's been pretty consistent year after year, even dating back to his last season in San Francisco, where the home run numbers have just really gone up quite a bit. And I'm not sure what he could do in order to counteract that.
Well, we thank you guys again for your questions. Obviously, we love Mailbag Monday, and like I said, it's not going anywhere. But
it's going to be Mailbag Tuesday for all of the
Tuesday, whatever.
All the people listening at home to the podcast. Oh, well.
You guys don't know any better. It's fine. Everybody, Jesse, everybody's on edibles, and nobody knows what time it is or what's going on anymore. Speaking of that, you can earmuffs for the next couple of minutes, Jesse, because I know you don't want to listen to this, but I'm telling you, we have a brand new partner in the house. We're excited.
We do.
OG's brands into the PHNX family. I got an email today. It was weird. I got an email today telling me that OG's was now part of the PHNX family. I couldn't believe it, but OG's is one of Arizona's first original scratch-made cannabis kitchens and is dedicated to creative, innovative, and memorable cannabis-infused products that flavor life's journeys. Jesse, they make some wonderful tasting products, and I know, again, this is something you're never going to have to worry about trying, but for those of you out there that want to get down on it, of course, get down on OG's brand. The most important thing to remember is that edibles are not a one-size-fits-all product, which is why OG's is proud to offer a wide range of products for all demographics and preferences. Their motto is flavoring life, and that's something I think we can all get behind. And when I say that, let me tell you the most important edible advice that anybody can give you. You can take more, but you can't take less. So just remember that. So if you've never tried out OG's brands or anything like that, let that sage advice be your first your first piece of advice down that path. But if you're interested in trying the amazingly delicious variety of flavors that OG's Brands has to offer, go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com to find OGs near you. And yes, OGs, Rick, it's great. Thank you guys again so much for joining us on this impromptu live episode.
It's gonna be a fun week. We got some cool stuff happening.
First, obviously, we have our opening day live party at the Ainsworth. We're gonna have the new exclusive shirt drop. You might have even seen what this shirt might look like. There might have been a sticker or something out there. I'm just saying. Anyway, opening day live party at the Ainsworth starts at 3 p.m. Join us. It's going to be a marathon for me, Jesse. It's not going to be a sprint. I have a long day that day, so I have to choose whatever liquor I'm going to be drinking at the Ainsworth wisely. I'm definitely not getting those big pineapple drinks to start the night off. But a reminder to you guys what to expect from our show. Like I said, we're going to be bringing you post-game wrap-ups or post-series wrap-up, we should call it, because nobody wants a game every day. With baseball, it's 162 games. It's nonsense. I still can't believe they haven't changed that. But great news. We are going to have, of course, the return of the Mac. Michaela Perkins is going to be joining us here for our live shows. So that's going to be awesome to have her as part of our crew. And as well as, just when we're going to be doing the show, it's going to be a little bit less predictable, right? But we're still going to be providing you guys with our audio podcast the following day. So make sure to still check for that if you ever miss the live shows, if you can't hop on YouTube, anything like that. We appreciate you guys so much again for being a part of that family. We've had a long off season. We're here now. It's time. It's time to get hyped. It's time to get excited about baseball. Who knows, as D-backs fans, how long we'll have to be excited about baseball? Could be months, could be days. I don't know. Could be the whole season, Jesse. This team is just interesting to me because I really don't know what to expect out of them, right? So far, things aren't looking so great with some of the injuries and stuff, but hopefully we can bounce back, and hopefully you guys will be here with us for the journey this season. Most importantly, join us. You guys can get down with an RSVP for the Ainsworth. That way we have a seat for you. We know how many people are coming, and we would love you guys to join us. There's going to be amazing drinks and there's going to be amazing food, but there's also going to be, Jesse, amazing food at Chase Field. And you know what happened today.
True. This is true.
Jesse, you know what happened today. This was, quite the amazing day for me personally. The Arizona Diamondbacks previewed all of their food. It's all back, Jesse. We have all of our good snacks, all of the D-back snacks, all the crazy concoctions. It's fantastic. I stuffed myself full.
I'm sure you did.
This graphic right here, new food at Chase Field. That's an accurate. That's a real-time image of me from today. They shared all of their delicious snacks with me, Jesse. I got to try almost everything new. It was overwhelming. It was too much, but it was all so great. The one thing that sticks out in my mind is that the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to be doing a hot dog in honor of the opposing team for every series the entire season. The first dog is for the Padres.
Wild.
It is a bacon-wrapped hot dog that comes topped with, I think, cojita cheese and jalapenos, and it's like a Tijuana dog. It's incredible. The Astros dog.
So they are supposed to be based on the region, not just
regionally based. Correct. So Chef Steven did some amazing work, kind of researching into the regions, what's popular, trying to find the unique thing. I think in a way, I mean, it's not hard. All the baseball stadiums, I think, kind of have unique regional kind of hot dogs and tastes that you can kind of look into and see what's popular and such. Here in Arizona, I feel like the Sonoran dog and all of the dogs that are kind of topped with Southwest type flavors and stuff, the salsa and the crema and elote and all that kind of stuff is all just part of our culture here in Arizona. And it's great to see the Diamondbacks do that. I also think, Jesse, it's kind of fucking brilliant that they're doing this for the opposing fans and the opposing team. Let's be honest. I had a discussion.
Is it really?
Listen, hear me out. We have to look at this realistically, right? You want to look at this as a fan and be mad, and we don't want those people in our building. And I get all that. That's fantasy, though. That's not what's happening. In reality, we know that stadium is going to be filled with opposing fans, no matter who they're playing. So the thing about this is, do you not want the opposing fans' money in your pocket? Do you not want to do something for them? And not to mention the fact that this literally gives a brand new item every single series the entire year. So season ticket holders have something unique to look forward to every series that they couldn't have got. Yeah, sure, it's probably going to be hot dogs all the time, so you're going to get sick of hot dogs. But at the same time, too, I feel like it brings enough variety, and I just think it's a smart move. You have to be real. Yeah. Like, yes, I would love to not have people sell their tickets to opposing fans and do all of that shit. Great. At this point, because there were a few people laughing at the food and beverage preview today about that. And I actually, I was the voice of reason. And I kind of just looked at a couple of them and said, hey, the opposing fans are the ones that are keeping the lights on in this place. Yeah. And they looked at me and said, you know what? You're damn right about that. And that's the fact of the matter, right? It's great. Yeah. I love D-backs fans. I love this team, but I understand. I live here. I have to work at that building, but if I was going there as a fan, I'd probably stop in to Chase 3 or 4 times a year. With the current state of the team, right? So I'm not suggesting that we need to like completely welcome opposing fans, but I do think it's a good idea, right? Food is weird, man. It has a weird attachment. It's all cyclical. You got to do whatever you can to bring people in the money and get their business, because that money goes to the team. And the more filled Chase Field is throughout the season consistently, the more money that team has to spend on that team, right? So if we sell out every game, but 75% of the people in that building are opposing fans, so fucking be it. So be it.
Wow.
So, I'm saying it.
Do you hear yourself, Derek?
I sound like a maniac, but I've lived in Arizona for a long time, Jesse. I am used to the opposing fans being the majority. I'm saying that the Diamondbacks need to do whatever they need to do right now to get people in that building. No matter no matter what laundry those people wear or root for, right? So that's my point. And I think that this is a really smart move for that case. I think all of this stuff, bringing Chick-fil-A in is a smart move. Everybody's asking, are they open on Sunday? They will not fucking be open on Sunday, Jesse. It's Chick-fil-A. Do people not pay attention? No, they will not be open on Sunday.
Could you imagine, like, people would literally just go to Diamondbacks games on Sundays just because Chick-fil-A was open if it was.
Ticket from the guy out there by the Chase Field parking garage, and they'd come in just to get Chick-fil-A, and they would pay it because it would be a nominal fee to get Chick-fil-A on Sunday. $8, that's it. That's all I got to do. And that's all they're going to do to go in there. But I know it's crazy. I think we lost every viewer when I said the thing about opposing.
We might have.
So I better wrap it up now. But before I let you guys go, I got to remind you once again to go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use our code of PHNX. Download that app and get down on the college basketball action tonight. Bet $5 on either team to win, and whoever wins, if your team wins, you will get $200 in free bets instantly. That's with code PHNX. At the DraftKings Sportsbook. Existing customers can get down on the action. You might not get the $200 deal, but you can get down on the, of course, same game parlay action where you can add additional legs. The more legs you add, the more money you win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So go to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Throw down $5 on either team and get $200 in free bets. If either team, or if your team wins, excuse me, not if either team. That's not how that works. But that's code PHNX at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of college hoops. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 and over only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And I want to see you guys all out at the Ainsworth. I wish I could see Jesse there, but unfortunately, circumstances are still keeping.
I'll be there virtually. I'll be on a TV somewhere.
You'll be on a TV.
I don't know what the setup will be. Yeah, you'll hear my voice somehow.
Yeah, you'll be like the supervillain on the TV behind me, looming in the background. But we thank you guys all for checking out the show. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter. I am at Cap_Caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks, but of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports. And that's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, make sure to subscribe to us there and leave a 5-star review. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel and sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss any of the content coming out from our wonderful growing team. Big shout out to our members of the Cardinals podcast that have come on. And honestly, everybody else, we are growing exponentially, and it's wonderful to have all of these new co-workers here at PHNX. We thank you guys so much for checking out the show. Please be sure to RSVP and join us at the Ainsworth on opening day. We'll be there starting at 3 p.m. and we hope to see you guys all there. On behalf of Jesse and myself, we thank you so much for checking out the show. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun once we can bet on it on Thursday.